Welcome to Greenvale Radio. I'm Dan.
And I'm Whitney.
And yes, it's finally out. We're free to talk about Deadly Premonition 2. Oh my god. Oh, it's amazing. And this is going to be our review podcast. We're not going to get heavily into spoilers. I mean, you're obviously doing your own.
It's going to be a review of the whole game instead of the whole chapter, but we're not going to spoil anything. We're going to talk about the game as a whole. We're going to make recommendations. We're going to review it, talk about stuff we like, stuff we didn't like. But if you're waiting for our big, full-on, getting in-depth theory stuff, we're going to save that for another another podcast, because I don't think it's fair to do that the day it comes out. Like, I don't want to risk spoiling it for everyone. People a chance.
Exactly. Yeah. So join us back here, week, 10 days, something like that, and we're going to get real deep into the story. Because it's going to take anybody, even if you start it right away, I don't think it's crazy to say it's going to take a person, 40 hours to beat this thing?
It took me 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, 40 hours.
I know it took me longer than it took you.
And also a lot of those 40 hours were me trying to find the stupid emblems.
Yeah, you're right. People who don't do the Emblem Hunt, they might finish it a lot faster.
Or they might finish it faster using our video. But
that's true. You're right. They could still do. Yes, Whitney edited together a search. So if you want to find all of the Fleur-De-Lis, you can do that, because she has helped you do that, and it's going to take you a tenth of the time it took.
All 100 except for one on my own, and oh my god, it was just
pulling out your hair and driving you nuts.
I was like, I can't ask really for help. Dan is not even here yet.
Yeah, I'm behind you. It's like, I found a one for you. That's it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even on the same chapter of books you were. It's like, I saw the picture and I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly where that is. In a complete coincidence, I had been there already in the game. Just because
for some reason,
randomly
that part of the map,
yeah?
I just never went to it for some reason. I didn't notice it. And I'm like, where the fuck is this place?
And then we had to go there twice more.
I'm looking everywhere else. And I'm like, oh, there it is, of course. Okay, wow.
All right.
Completely
obvious. We are, of course, talking about the Fleur-De-Lis Mission that we mentioned a little in our previous podcast, if you heard it. There is a character in the game who is the local gravekeeper, and he has got, Brian was a ghost. Brian the Insomniac, the local gravekeeper, was a ghost. That was confirmed by the game. It's his bones that Willie steals, presumably, because Willie knows that he knows, and Willie doesn't want him to be able to help you and give you information. That's going a little far, but I think, Willie could have dug up any grave, but he coincidentally digs up the grave of the guy who knows all about him and what he's up to. No, 100% Willie meant to do that. But anyway, so they tried to out-weird Brian this time.
Hey, they kind of did.
And I would say they pulled it off. He's weirder. Because you meet him, you're like, what is he doing? And he is...
Beep, boop, beep,
boop. And you know what I love about this guy? I love that they, didn't give him almost any voiced dialogue. Because I'm sure they knew that the audience would get so pissed off at having to hear the bizarre, audio artifacting of his voice so quickly that they'd be like, no, we can't force people to listen to this. It's fine for the introduction, but once she starts, saying lines, we'll just do it in text. Thank you very much. Yeah, because he has almost no voice lines in the game, but you will be thanking him for having almost no voice lines in the game. Which actually brings me to a question. All right, so before we get into just talking about the game in whole, I just wanted to ask if you found something that I missed. So obviously David is 3 different people, but also one person, and it's very confusing.
He's 4.
Well, yes, 4 different people. I was about to say that. What I was going to ask you was, is he 4 people or is he 5 people? Because he talks about how the owner is a jerk. The owner of the hotel, who's also David.
That's the 4th one.
That's the 4th one. What I'm saying is, no, absolutely that's the 4th one. Is the guy you meet when you just go to his house or see him in the restaurant, just eating off duty, is that the 4th guy or is that a 5th character?
That's the owner.
That's probably the 4th guy, right? You see why I'm a little confused, because the 4th guy is Scottish.
That's what he's supposed to be?
Yeah, that's what that accent was.
I couldn't understand.
It was
like,
him phonetically writing a Scottish accent. That's what that is.
I met him on the street, and I'm like, I have no idea what he was just trying to say to me.
That's
what the fuck?
What they have done is, and I guess what I was going to ask you was, is the Scottish accent ever voiced? And you've just confirmed to me that you never found it being voiced either, because you didn't even know what they were going for. Yeah, it was.
No.
Yeah, it was a phonetic transcription of Scottish accent. That's what I met him.
I met him in the grave on Sunday. Him and his sister were visiting a grave, and then I met him on the street. But I never met him in the restaurant. He'll go.
He'll go eat dinner at his sister's restaurant some nights, and you can talk to him there. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him like walking around, and he's just wearing his white tank top. I have his. I'm stowed the no, bleither tay me, I can't even understand this.
Tay, T-A-E is how they say two in, if you're doing a Scottish accent.
I'm stowed the no.
Yeah.
Beather tay me after.
You know
Bother
what?
Bother me after. Oh, I'm stowed the no. Okay, I'm going to give you the screenshot. And
give me the screenshot, and I'll translate it for you.
Read this out to me, because I got blether tay me after. Okay, I got that bother me later type thing, but I cannot.
Well, no. So have you sent it on? How are you sending?
I'm going to send it on. Discord.
Okay, send it on Discord, and I'll translate it for you.
Because I was like, what the fuck is he saying?
I happen to have read a lot of English stuff in my life, and a lot of British comic books, and they love to blather to me after. So it's blether is blather, so talk to me later. I'm stowed the no. I don't know what stowed is supposed to be, but he's saying the now.
That's what's getting me confused.
So yeah, that is slang I'm not familiar with, but he's essentially saying, I'm busy right now, talk to me later, is what he's saying.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that, but
yeah, it's a phonetically written Scottish accent. And I was wondering, are people going to get that?
I did not get Scottish. I was like, wow. I wonder if there's a voice part, because I've not found it.
It would be a good clue to help people understand what he's saying there if they understood it was Scottish. But yeah, because I've read a ton of British comic books growing up, know how to phonetically write out Scottish accents, and that's what that is. So yeah, I assume that's the fourth guy, but I'm like, is that like his day-to-day not having a job life, and there's actually a fifth secret David who's the cruel owner of the business, who talks even completely differently from that. Again, that's a theory. I've got no evidence that exists, but it did make me wonder.
I've not found, I just assumed that was the owner personality, because I did not find another one. But maybe
who knows, right?
Yeah.
With David, it's hard to tell. All right, so let's get into the game, which is the big question I think that everyone had is, can this possibly live up to Deadly Premonition? Right?
Yes.
Because that's such a hard shoes to fill, like such big shoes to fill. And I would argue that it does.
Oh, it does, definitely,
completely.
Guys.
Like it is the sequel we have been wanting this whole time. It is almost everything we want it to be. And I'm just going to say, can I say my only problem with the game right now?
Sure.
Because this is literally, we're going to have technical issues. Obviously, we're going to talk about the technical issues. My only problem with the game's story is, and so this is my only problem with the story, most of which I loved and found fantastic. I want to make that clear. But the one thing that Deadly Premonition had that this is missing is basically enforced hangout time. Right? The game, Deadly Premonition, made you hang out with Thomas and George and Emily and Harry in a way that this game doesn't.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that as well. The characters in this story are really fascinating and funny and stuff, just like Greenvale, but I felt I got closer to the people in Greenvale than I did with the people in Le Carré, except maybe for Patricia, because you do hang out with her.
Yeah. I think,
but everybody else was still kind of a stranger to me.
That was my point, yeah. And you got all of this enforced hangout time. So it's like, you can, the amazing thing about Deadly Premonition is you can choose to spend a bunch of extra time with these characters and learn a ton about them, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's some of that in Deadly Premonition too, although I haven't seen a lot of it yet because I've had a devil of a time finding any side missions at all. Like, it's very hard to find side missions in this game. There's supposedly like 60 side missions. I have found surprisingly few.
How many have you done?
I don't know, like 10, 12, something like that. Not many.
Oh.
Yeah. You've obviously done more than I have.
I've done, I think, like 25.
Okay. But you've done maybe half of the side missions. Did you finish the all of the nights of drinking at the bar?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And did you get all of the beads?
Yes.
Okay. What does it get you? The character who's very entertaining, the Mirror, will give you some special wants you to get some special beads. And if you get all 5, he'll give you something. What does he give you?
I think it's just a
special
voodoo doll.
Necklace?
No. It's like a doll that can affect York's stats, not his gun or the skateboard.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I got to double check, but I believe it was a doll.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, for his mission, basically, it's you need to complete the pastor's side mission,
Melvin's
Tyrone's side mission,
Melvin's, obviously.
Melvin's side mission.
Yeah.
And
trying to remember the last one. Because I've done everything but Xavier's.
And David's side mission with the shower.
And
once you have all 4 beads or whatever, you can go
beads.
back.
Yeah, and you'll give you the thing. Okay.
Hi guys, Whitney here, editing the podcast. Okay, first off, I meant Xavier, the bartender, not Tyrone. Tyrone is the name of the pastor. I don't know why I kept getting them mixed up. But you get 5 different beads from completing a side mission for Tyrone, for Xavier, fixing your shower in the hotel, Melvin, and then completing a side mission for Avery. As for the prize, I got it mixed up with another one. Mission for collecting all the beads, you end up getting rewarded a necklace from the Mirror, which gives you a boost of +1 values to the gun's power, accuracy, and reload speed.
So yeah, and that is my biggest issue with the game is there is not the extent of hangout time with all of the characters enforced by the narrative. And the game makes it, I think, a little difficult to find the side missions that let you give a chance to get to know these people a little better. Because the one really good thing about Deadly Premonition was you had a friggin' journal that tells you every side mission in the game. You
knew how many there were, at least. Like, I still don't know roughly how where many to find there are.
Yeah, and but I mean, Deadly Premonition, they told you what missions you could do, like what chapters you could do them in. Because, spoiler alert, I'm not going to tell you what happens after Chapter 2, but there's a bunch of missions that get locked off if you don't complete them in time. Not going to tell you why, but...
Well, it's similar. Well, that's kind of similar to Deadly Premonition as well.
It is. But
there were
Deadly
some that were like, oh,
yeah.
You missed out because this person's dead now, so you're not going to do their mission.
But my point is, Deadly Premonition warned you, because all of the missions relating to Becky, if you looked in the book, it says this mission can only be done between chapters 1 and 6, so to be out on the lookout for that, right? And
true,
that was an issue, but at least the game helped you find the missions and warned you that they were going to go away if you didn't get them fast enough. And this one, I mean, the game just doesn't. It doesn't help you find the missions. Likewise, the free missions, right? I had no idea where to find the free missions. To the point where you suggested maybe they aren't actually missions?
Well, like, they're just like little side things. I mean, there's the police board, but sometimes I notice just when talking with certain characters,
it'll say like, so-and-so free mission unlocked.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just usually something you can do as York, like learning a new skateboard trick.
Well, no, but the puzzling thing about it, and this is why I think there might be other free missions we can get, because when you finish learning a skateboarding trick, so it's like you'll go and you'll have mastered a previous trick, and she'll tell you, okay, I will go teach you a skateboarding trick. So you teleport to an area, and you start a side mission, and it is listed as a side mission in the game, learning that trick. So you go, you go to the skate park, one of her many skate parks, you follow her course, you complete the course, you unlock the skating trick, it says you complete the side mission, and then once that's done, a little ticker comes up that says, you just unlocked free mission number so-and-so, for the love of skating. And I'm like, what is that? How do I do it? How do I find the mission?
I assumed that one, at least, you probably have to learn all the skate tricks.
Probably,
that are
yes.
available. I've only learned 2, so...
Okay. I've learned all the tricks except for skitching, which I was never successfully able to do.
I think by that point, I was just...
desperate to get through the story?
I was looking for the emblems, and then I'm like,
okay.
I can't find this last one. Like, well, I really want to get through the story. so I basically powered through the story.
I was blown away by the way, I was blown away by how fast you powered through the story. It took me 2 full days longer than you to get through this game.
I mean,
yeah.
It wasn't that hard. I mean, difficulty-wise, like the combat and stuff,
no, you guys will
be happy to know, it's very easy.
Not only is the combat itself very easy, right? But, and this is the cool part, like, they just let you carry a shockingly large amount of health items. So even if you're not good at the shooting, they've given you this amazing feature, right? Where instead of having to aim and shoot, you hold down the trigger button when you're in the other world using your psycho gun. You just hold down the trigger button and hover your cursor over a guy to lock onto him and like queue up shots. And so every lock on is an additional bullet you automatically fire at this guy, and you can shoot at like all 4 or 5 guys on screen at the same time, meaning if you do the lock on right, you can fire 30 bullets simultaneously.
Yes. That gun is pretty kick-ass. It was very satisfying.
It wipes out anything. Yeah, it looks great. You can wipe out anything almost immediately. I'm not going to tell you, like, I'm not going to describe the bosses to anyone because I want there to be surprises, but it's like, literally, I took out bosses in 2 or 3 shots. Because
me too. I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah, you just used the lock-on, right?
Even the last boss, I was like, okay.
Okay, I got this.
It was pretty simple. I'm like, I think people are going to be okay with the combat in this game.
I'm not even going to say they because you could say, well, he overcorrected and made it too easy this time. I don't think so. I think it's just, it's just fun and easy. He wasn't worried about challenging people with the combat.
And also, I noticed that compared to the first game, the combat in general took a big backseat. Like, most of the game, of your time is going to be exploring the town, talking to people, and interrogating Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, for maybe like 10 minutes, you might have to go to an other world, but then...
Yeah, that's it.
There's not that many other worlds. I think there's,
4?
3?
4. 1 per chapter, yeah. And
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because the one in 3 is incredibly short. Like, you literally just walk through a bayou full of monsters. Like it's. I
didn't count that one.
Oh,
Oops,
okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. If you're not counting that one because you don't actually walk through a gate or anything, I totally get how you would say there's only 3. Because but the times when you specifically go to a gate for a reason and are assigned the quest of doing another world, that only actually happens 3 times in the day. If you want to fight monsters, you actually have to wait till after midnight and like make the conscious choice to fight monsters. Because once again, just like in Deadly Premonition, the streets of the town are completely full of monsters after midnight.
And York's the only one who could see it. I did like how this sequel kind of made it a little bit more obvious about the workings of the other world.
Oh, completely.
That not everybody can see it, and it's something that York and Zach have to like consciously go into. Like it's not like it's a power onto its own,
Yes.
It's something special, which I liked how this game made it clearer.
Do you know what I really loved though?
What?
That they managed to, because one of the things we talked about how hard it was going to be for them was justifying how York found all of this so weird in Greenvale when he'd already been shooting people. But we're explicitly told by York in this game that what he believes is happening when he goes into the other worlds is essentially entirely a psychic phenomenon. Like he is going into a person's head. right?
And in this game, when you're fighting, you're not really even the gun you use, you're shooting rubber bullets in the real world, and even in the other world, it's like, it's not a real gun. It's like this, like you said, a David Cronenberg type.
David Cronenberg Existenz / Videodrome. Yeah, his hand transforms into a gun. It's so creepy.
And the first time we step into another world, he's like, okay, we're in the perpetrator's mind. We're seeing their stuff, you know?
We're seeing their histories. We're seeing and he just takes the villains, like the monsters he runs into, as representations within that world of what exactly.
So that's why,
who knows?
So surprising in Greenvale, where it's like, wait, what?
Well, yeah,
I'm not in someone's mind right now.
Exactly. How is it that these monsters are just attacking me walking around? And that's, as we know, because it was, you can talk about that. We've got our video about that. We don't have to get into our explanation of that here. But yeah, we have.
Wait, is that video going to be done?
Soon.
Before this one?
Probably not before this one, but definitely soon.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
But yes, if you're wondering how the other world works, we will have a video up very soon to explain it all to you. Don't worry. But yeah, no, I mean, I was worried. I guess
you guys can tell that we didn't do the missing podcast because we got a little bit distracted by. Yeah,
we did not think that we were going to get Deadly Premonition 2 as early as we did. We thought it was going to be much closer to launch. They were nice enough to send it to us more than 2 weeks before it came out, so we had time to really dig in. And I mean, I think my playtime is officially 65 hours.
Oh, you've played it longer than me then. Well, I guess if I'm going to count me going back to replay a new game so I could get better video evidence of the first 2 albums for the emblems, maybe, I'd be there on the same amount of time.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. No,
so someone asked me if this was longer than Deadly Premonition 1. I think we're on agreement that, it is. Even though the town is smaller, it's not. No. There's more to do, and no,
it is definitely a little. It is definitely longer
I got
than
distracted with
so much
collecting shit.
And there aren't as many. Oh god, the collecting stuff is so much fun. The Fleur-De-Lis, we've made a guide. We put together a guide. I helped by finding one of them. So saying we is a gross overstatement of my contribution to this.
Hey, that really helped me because I didn't realize there was a whole other section of the town. I just kept
never bothered to visit. But I will give you a hint, except for the one, if you want to find it on your own, use Whitney's guide, because Whitney's guide is going to save you a lot of hassle. She told me where 15, 20 of them were, because I couldn't find them. But the one thing I noticed that is pretty much, other than 2 or 3 of them, every single one of them is a major location you go to in the game.
Yes.
So
I was going to just say that it's going to be something you're going to see during the course of the game.
Almost
so
all.
If you're getting frustrated, you're like,
and you don't
I can't find
this
random house or whatever. Don't worry.
You'll see it. You are going to see it eventually. Yeah.
The game forces you into that area. Yeah. Except the one I couldn't find.
Yes, because the game never asks you to go to the south end of the map. Ever. There's there's never a reason in the plot to go to the south end of the map. So, no, you were completely justified in your frustration that time. I know, but
I can't believe I kept overlooking it.
Oh yeah. The side activities, they're just entertaining this time. I mean, it's frustrating this weird way that it's they don't put any of the side activities on the map. Stone skipping is actually kind of fun. I enjoy doing it. But where are all the locations you can stone skip? According to the game, there's a bunch. I found 2. Supposedly there's more. But the game doesn't put them on the map.
I found 3.
So you already found more than I did.
Well, there's the one...
the murder site.
Can't you... The murder site? Then there's one by the guy's house.
Yep, the airboat rentals.
Isn't there one by the place I never went to?
I don't know, because I never found a third one. No, I never found a third one. Maybe there is, but I didn't find it. Given the layout of that area, it would make sense if there was. But I'm just telling you, I never found a third one. And that's one of the things that's weird about the game is it doesn't, like, so many open world games have been criticized for cluttering the map up with so many activities to do and making it impossible to find your way around. And I get that frustration, but in this game it's weird because it doesn't clutter up the map at all with anything.
Yeah, it gives you landmarks, but you gotta really search for things.
Oh, you do. You really do, especially the mission that makes you go looking for a vending machine. Oh.
Well, they do mark vending machines.
Thank heavens for that, but it's like, I went all across that map looking for the right vending machine. That took me forever.
I looked out, it was like, it was like the second one I looked at.
You lucky monster.
I was like, oh, well, yay.
Yay me. Problem solved. Yeah, no, that was not my experience at all. I went to six of them before I found it. And you told me it's not even the one you found it at, so it must be randomized.
I could have sworn I went to a different one, but I could just be misremembering. We'll have to check my video.
Actually, you're right. We'll have to double check that.
But the way we're talking right now, the game does, however, give a lot of tutorials. Yes. I was so proud. I was so proud of Swery and the team for learning that people are dumb and they're not gonna pick up on some stuff.
Oh, gosh.
I liked how they basically laid out for you, like, hey, this is a new status effect. This happens, and they give you a little pop-up window.
Yeah, every time a thing happens for the first time, yeah.
And then you can go to your Red Room submenu, and there's a whole full list of tutorials, like how to move York, skateboard shit, how the Red Room works.
Yep. It's great.
All the status effects. It was wonderful. It was like,
yay! It is comprehensive. Like, it is comprehensive. They took the criticisms of the first game to heart and made this one, like, so much easier to play in so many ways.
Yeah, easier to navigate.
Yep.
The map was a lot more useful, except in one area.
Like, I mean, except for not putting the side missions on it. Yeah. Like, the map is...
And like, first Chapter 1 podcast, you were saying how there wasn't any people on the map.
Yeah, turns out we were wrong.
There are. You just have to zoom in all the way, which I felt was a little bit weird.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I'm so glad you found that out, because it made it so much easier to find people and find what missions I did manage to...
Well... The only reason I found it is because I'm like, oh, I need to zoom in so people know where this emblem is on the map. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I can see a
Holy
person.
Shit. I can see people on here.
What the hell?
Because I never felt the need to zoom all the way in.
Why would you? Yeah, there's no obvious reason to. And the weird part is, I knew that they were capable of showing blue dots for people on the map, because as you're driving around the city... Like, in your mini-map, there will be a blue dot for a character. I'm like, well, why isn't that on the big map? And then, as you found out, it is. We just weren't finding it. Because you had to zoom in all the way.
I'm wondering if that's maybe, I don't know, a glitch, or just by design. It's a little weird. I thought that was a negative for the map. But everything else is great. I liked how, on the map, it actually listed, like, if you met somebody... It would mark where their house is.
I know.
And
Such
I liked
nice
for the businesses, it put down what days of the week and what hours they were open.
Yep.
Because
now that's not, that's not always going to be true, because even within the days and hours they're open, sometimes people go out for a smoke break. Or sometimes people will go out and wander off, because it's, again, a very real living place, just like Greenvale was. So yeah, I mean, but it's a great guide. It's almost always accurate, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you visit a lot of people at their house?
I tried to a bunch, yeah. I think I visited everybody at their house, except, I guess, Professor R. But that would be it. I never visited Professor R at her house.
I don't think they were ever there.
No, probably not. I even visited Xavier. I visited Emma a bunch, because I was always trying to get her to help me with my...
skateboard?
My skateboard. And that's a perfectly good example, because, like, technically she works from 9 to 5 at her little skateboard shop in a garage, but, like, at random times during the day, she'll, like, just go indoors for a meal, because it's attached to her house. So, yeah, she won't come out to the, like, when she's busy, she won't come out to the garage, so you're kind of stuck. Which is, again, a nice touch and a very realistic. But yeah, I visited, I think I visited everybody at their home. I visited Avery at his house. I don't think the alien gravekeeper has a house. Like, because I went in the middle of the night and he seemed to just still be standing there. It was very creepy.
Yeah, he was very like, he's like Brian. He doesn't.
Yeah. Although Brian does have a house.
That's true. He has a little shack in the graveyard. And he has a real house, but he doesn't go to it.
Yeah, he doesn't go to it. But hey, his flamethrower is still there 60 years after he died. So yeah, it's, God, Brian's the best. Yeah, I did visit people at their houses. Sadly, peeping has been removed.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I was like, there wasn't any peeping, and I was very sad.
No, peeping was such a weird and quirky part of the original game that I was sad to see it had been left out. But I guess, I mean, even the biggest fans of the game, like us, would admit that it's not like peeping was used extremely well in the original.
No, but you learned so much about the side characters by doing it.
Oh, you do. You do. But I'm just saying it wasn't well implemented as a part of the game.
No, because people didn't do it.
Yeah, people didn't do it. And no, but not what I was saying, and I think I said this last time, is it's never implemented as a part of the narrative. Like, the game never teaches you can do it by saying, quick, we've got to look in at so-and-so in his house, like, to figure out what he's doing. And then, maybe we could do this to check on the other people around town, Zach. Like, we never get one of those in the game.
Yeah.
This game, as you said, is much better at teaching you. Yeah, there's less you can do in that respect, but it's better at teaching you what you can do, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think is a really nice touch. Please.
Another thing I was extremely disappointed in was the travel conversations. I loved them.
Yeah.
But then I hated them.
I know.
Because they're constant and they're randomized. And I kept hearing the same ones over and over and over again while trying to find the emblems. And I wanted to skateboard York off a cliff. I'm like, York, I do not want to talk about bridges. We've talked about bridges 50 times already, and I've already heard about the weather. Please stop. Stop it.
I would say that the problem is that in the original, and this is a mistake I think they made, that this time, in the original, you had to make the conscious effort to have a car conversation. You had to press a button to start the conversation, whereas in this game, it just happens. You don't have any choice of when York is going to start talking. And that's a problem.
Which is fine if he exhausted what he had to say for that particular chapter.
Yeah.
Instead of repeating it
over and
ad nauseum. Like, if I understand repeating it if it gets cut off, because he did that in the original.
Yeah.
But you can go through it and hear this long dialogue about the weather, about bridges, about a certain case that happened with French kissing people's heads as they decompose.
His severed tongue.
Okay, that's all interesting.
Yeah.
I don't
need to hear it 50 more times.
I don't need to hear those conversations in full.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Repeated.
It's bad.
And it's like, because it was randomized, sometimes I get the same conversation like 3 times in a row.
I know.
I'm like,
yeah. It's a problem. I mean, they should have done it the same way the first way, like 6 conversations per chapter, and then after that's done, he just like whistles or hums to himself. And you have,
he does hum.
Oh, he does whistle.
He hums
sometimes.
Amazing Grace.
Yeah, I know.
And that's great. And he whistles
Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful.
I know.
Which is wonderful.
But
so I'm wondering if it's actually a glitch or something.
I don't think it is a glitch. I think he just didn't think that one through. I think that was a part that might have been missed. I mean, it could be a glitch, but I doubt it. But yeah, they should have let you choose when you want to hear the conversations. And you're right. Each conversation should have only happened once. That would have been a huge improvement.
At least once in full.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it sucked because I got up to chapter 3 or something, traveling around, still looking for that emblem.
Yeah.
And he's still saying shit that he said in chapter 1.
I know.
But then there'll be this new conversation I want to hear, and I'd accidentally bump into a bush or like a curb, and then he'd stop.
And then you gotta keep restarting it until you hear it. I know.
Okay. And then I'd restart it, and it's like, Zach, we're in the deep south. I'm like, fuck!
No. I want to hear the new one. Tell me about...
I'm like, I heard this, Zork. Go back to your new conversation and have to listen at least to 4 ones I've heard 50 times already to get to that new conversation. And then pray I didn't hit something.
But at a certain point, when I was trying to find the new ones, I would just like, the second he started a new one, I'm like, I'll just pull over to the side of the road and stand here until he's done talking.
Yep.
And that's the only way to get it done.
Also, we got to point out the sound mixing in this game is still pretty terrible because when you're skateboarding, the sound of the wheels on the road would drown out York.
Literally, the first thing I did was I turned the sound effects down to like 20% and the music down to like 30% and kept the dialogue all the way up. But you can do that this time. That you didn't have that option in the first game.
No, you did.
You did? You could turn that. No.
Yes.
Oh no, but during the cutscenes is when the music would go nuts and you couldn't change.
Yes, that was a cutscene thing. But
yeah, it was a cutscene thing.
Yeah.
Here, the cutscenes are actually much better mixed. I had the music never overpowers dialogue in the cutscenes the way it would in the first one from time to time, which is a huge improvement.
Yeah.
But like the minute I started the game, and I would recommend everyone do this if they want to hear the conversations, turn those sound effects down to like 20%. And suddenly you won't just be hearing the rattling of a skateboard. You'll actually be able to hear what he says.
I wanted the default experience, so I didn't touch it. I'm like, wow.
That was a mistake.
You guys need to work. Well, no, I knew going in. I was like, wow, they still can't sound mix.
No, I know, it's bad. Yeah, like I would agree. The skateboard is way too loud, guys.
I was like, wow, York, I can't hear you over the sound of the wheels, but that's not a big deal because you've said this conversation to me like
800
times
by this point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say it is an issue that you don't get to know the characters as well. As you say, Patricia's the only one we spend a lot of time with. Now, I still really liked Melvin. Like, Melvin's very entertaining, and he's very interesting. I still genuinely liked him. Right? But I would have liked the chance to go to a bar and hang out with Melvin and hear more about his life the way we were able to with George and Emily and Thomas, and the way you could go have optional conversations with Carol and Polly, right? I mean, the only character, and even Diane to a certain extent, the only character you can't really, who's a central character in the game, in the first one you can't do that with, is Becky. Like, you never get to spend any time with Becky. You just have that one quest line where you spend a tiny amount of time with her. You never get to hang out with Becky. You never get to learn huge amounts about Becky. And this one, it is lacking in that respect, that it's like, I wanted to learn more about Melvin. He's kind of amazing. Like, he's this guy who, every time you meet him, he is has one of my favorite quirks. He is constantly doing trailers for real life. He's doing trailer taglines for real life all the time. You know, and it's like, it fits in so perfectly with York's way of looking at the world, you know?
You know, another thing I missed was observing things.
Yeah, and getting the descriptions of things.
Yeah, I kept trying to observe things. I'm like, oh, he doesn't have that option.
He's just not going to do it anymore, which is too bad. And I think one of the things I really loved about this game is it going super in-depth into York's, let's say it, terrible taste in movies.
Oh my god. When he was going off about the island, I was like, oh no.
Oh no, York!
Oh no.
Like, he cannot get enough of the island, apparently. He loves that movie.
That movie wasn't that great.
It's not a good movie at all. He's like, it's going to start a whole new genre. 10 years from now, everybody's going to be like, oh, this is yet another ripoff of the island. It's so
art film sci-fi? I was like, what?
I know.
Like, the island?
The island of all things.
Did we see the same movie? Because I did not get that at all.
No, it's such
I also thought it was a little bit weird how he was talking about how the movies would show reality.
Yeah, and his idea of hyper reality.
Yeah, and he was talking to Patricia about this, and Patricia's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Are you serious? No.
Yeah, because York's idea seems to be that only movies that are quote-unquote realistic are bizarre, over-the-top, hyper-real things, like The Sixth Day. You know, starring Arnold S.
Don't say Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not the right way to say it, guys.
I just love that moment where he's like, oh, this little girl's so naive. thinking that anyone would call him Schwarzenegger and not Arnold S.
Like, York, everyone calls him Schwarzenegger.
Oh, God. And York has... Oh, my God. I'm sure you saw it, because every now and then you're like, York really does have a problem with, relating to people. And he has the, like, most... There's a line in this that is 100% explicitly about that, and I'm like, it is just mask-off fantastic, because he's talking to Raven, and she's like, why are you such a jerk all of the time?
Yes.
And his response is, well, what you have to understand is, I'm a student of human character, so by analyzing anyone, I can figure out the best possible way to ingratiate myself to them and exactly how I should interact with them. But then again, with people who I don't think are important, I don't bother putting in the effort.
I was like, wow,
damn!
Dude.
Oh! How could you say that, York?
Was that after she was asking him about the hotspots? I remember I saw it at some point. I couldn't.
Yeah, it was one of the It's after they come back from one of the hotspots. Which here's a weird thing about the game.
Speaking of which,
so there are 5 hotspots you have to go.
But it's labeled weird.
Well, no, and that's what I'm going to get at, right? So there are 5 at points in the game. We're not going to tell you why, because it's a fun reveal. You have to go to some hotspots, and so she will drive you there, and then you go there and you explore for reasons. And you come back. And she specifically says in dialogue that there are 5 hotspots. Here's how those hotspots are labeled. 1, 3, 4, 8. 1, 3, 4, 5, 8. That is how the 5 hotspots are labeled. 1, 3, 4, 5, 8. Where are 2, 6, and 7? I don't know.
But like, I got to the last hotspot.
Yeah.
And there's like, last one, Yorkie. But then I talked to her again, and she said, there's still some more hotspots. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, there are, based on the numbering. And it's like, well, how do we unlock them? And the game is not helping us with that at all.
Yeah, I'm like, Dan, did you find hotspot 2?
No, just skipped right to it. Skipped right.
Is this a glitch? What's going on here?
It's such a weird glitch that they would be named 1, 3, 4, 5, 8. Like, that is so strange.
Maybe there's other hotspots and we just haven't found them yet.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I said, I then decided to power through to the.
No, but there's a ton of the game we didn't see. Like, I didn't even find the place. I didn't even get to do the airboat until the game was almost over. Like,
oh, you didn't?
No, I didn't. Oh, no, I know you did earlier, but I never went to him at the right time of day. Because it's like, you have to go to, but it's like, so literally, right after I first did the airboat, I got him to take me to a place you have to go for the plot, which I won't reveal, because spoilers. But it's like, literally, we did the airboat for the first time, and he's like, hey, then you went and you talked to him, and you're like, you got to take me to this place for the plot. And he's like, only if you're good at skipping stones. I can only trust people if they're good at skipping stones. And I'm like, dude, you got no idea how much time I've spent skipping stones already in this game. I am ready for this.
It actually took me a while to figure out how to do it because
the timing is weird.
At the crime scene, I'm like, okay. And I did it. It was just like bad. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out the timing.
And then finally, like, I kind of got it.
Yeah. I actually got an incense. You talk to a voodoo guy playing the game, and he will give you beads to make your gun better. He will give you voodoo dolls to make you healthier and have better stamina, better resistance to status effects. And then he will give you incenses to make you better at minigames. And so I got the Skipping Stone minigame, and I did a lot better the minute I got the Skipping Stone minigame. Like, immediately I improved hugely.
Where did you get that one? I might have gotten that.
Oh, no, I made it.
Where did you get it?
You just make it.
Oh, you made it?
Yeah. Sorry, I should have made it clear. Yeah, you can pay him to, like, make you incenses. So, yeah.
Oh, wait, I think I missed something, because I can still only make the bead ones.
Oh, no, yeah, he'll eventually, I don't know how I unlocked it. I can go back and check for you if you want. But he will let you make every kind of necklace there is.
I mean, beads, I figured at some point I would be able to make it, but I never did. I always were just given incense, or I was just given a voodoo doll. I'm like, when is this going to unlock where I can just make it? Because I keep picking up all this shit around town.
Yeah. I'm obviously supposed to be using it for the game's craft. By the way, in case we haven't made it clear, which we haven't, whoops, the game has a crafting system?
Yes.
Like, you're going to constantly be hunting dogs and squirrels and gators and grabbing their parts, and then, like, finding stuff all around town for the crafting system. Oh, and it has this unbelievably comprehensive sticker book where you get stamps for doing stuff in game, and every time you get 40 stamps, they give you a new suit. So I have to assume there's 10 bonus suits in the game?
I've only gotten one.
Okay, I've gotten 2 suits now. The first one was the Mafia suit, check. And the second one is the Hitman suit. Yeah, I'm up to 90
You
stamps.
You have to check it to see
exactly.
if you got a prize.
They don't tell you when you've reached the next award level. You have to constantly go and check if you want to find out whether or not you've unlocked something. And yeah, you're right.
I'm going to check my stamps right now, see if I got another suit.
Oh, you probably have if you've beaten the game. You've beaten the game and you found all the Fleur-De-Lis. It would be weird if you didn't have over 80 stamps by this point. Because it's like, there's 15 stamps just for like, no, not 15. Like 10 stamps just for distances driving around town on the skateboard. Which I'm sure you've done.
Oh yeah, I cleared those ones.
Right away. Yeah.
Pretty fast. Because I didn't realize how to use a skateboard at first.
It was so embarrassing.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, you were right. If you try to remap your keys from the main menu, your controls from the main menu, it does say the skateboard button there. It's just in the start of the game. They're like, here's the basic controls for how to move around town. And they forgot to put skateboard on it.
Yeah, I that's what I was, when I was first, starting the game, and that popped up. I was like, okay, which one's the skateboard? I'm like, oh, it's not here. Okay, maybe it unlocks.
Yeah.
No. It's there from the get-go.
I played the whole first chapter almost without skateboarding, just walking everywhere or taking the taxi. It was bad.
I found it before the end of the chapter. I found it like about 3 or 4 hours in when I accidentally
that's a problem, Swery. You really should have forced us to learn how to use the skateboard immediately. Like, you should have.
And I knew it was possible because people were talking about the skateboard in that IGN video.
Yes.
And I was like, how do they get this skateboard? I still haven't watched
it. The skateboard right at the start of the game. I went and watched it after, because I found out it was, once I was like 2 days into the game, I went and I watched it because I heard it was just the first 15 minutes of the 2005, which is all it is. It's literally just, he leaves the hotel, the video is just, he leaves the hotel, he goes to the bowling alley, he goes to see the mirror, that's the whole video. So yeah, it's not going to spoil anything.
I don't have a new suit. I have my stamps open. I have a bunch of stamps, though.
Well, how many stamps do you have? Find out? It says at the top right what your total number of stamps is.
I have 76.
So you need 4 more to get the next suit.
How many stamps do you have?
90-some.
There's 400! Holy shit.
400. And some of them are crazy, like, spend 365 days in town. That's one of them. Like, get run over by a car 100 times. You have to be hospitalized because you got down to health care 0 100 times.
So what does the second suit look like? Is it funny?
Oh, no, it's a Hitman suit, so it's black suit, black shirt, black tie. Yeah.
Oh.
I know, it's very stylish.
Okay.
It's a very nice looking
suit.
suit.
So I got 4 more stamps to go to get that suit.
That's what I think.
Have you found the rice yet?
No. So right at the beginning of the game, and this is why the side missions are so frustrating, right? Right at the beginning of the game, a character asks you to get her some rice so she can make a dish. And you're like, oh, okay, I'll just go to the store. There are no stores in the game. You're like, okay, well,
there's a traveling store, but he doesn't have rice.
No, he doesn't have rice. And then later on, we found that the same woman who asks you for rice, if you just go to her house, there will be key item green pepper left outside her house. So we think there's some place in the game where you can just find rice, but we have no evidence.
I don't know where.
Like, theoretically, there should be rice just somewhere in the game that you can just pick up. But we found no evidence of it. And so, like, literally, the first side quest we got in the whole game, we've never completed.
No, we have not. And I feel so stupid.
I know, right?
Like, where is this rice?
Yeah.
There's no store. I don't know where it could possibly be in the world.
Frustrating. One thing about the game that makes the issues with the budget, and we've said that the game doesn't place a lot of import on the fighting, and it really doesn't. But there are, a number of otherworld sequences. And one thing that might disappoint people, and I just want to rip this Band-Aid off now, is that the game does not have more than one otherworld. There's only one otherworld. And I understand that might annoy people a little. But yeah, there's only one. But what's
kind of... Yeah, the design is the same. You're basically walking through like this like house with some red stuff on the wall, but...
Eerie hallways, and then there's like tendrils and roots. Yeah.
What's cool, what I thought was really neat, was when you're going through it, you would come to a room and you would get the profiling.
Yes.
And you'd see the room how it is.
Yeah.
And then kind of ghostly versions of the scene that played out, or plays or is going to play out.
Yeah.
And your kind of pieces together his Deadly Premonition, and I thought that was a neat.
Oh no, absolutely!
Thing.
I loved the Deadly Premonition investigation scenes. Loved those. But the issue is, in the first game, when you went to the other world, like the other world was intruding. Essentially, you never went 100% to the other world. The other world was just intruding onto real locations and changing and warping them, and you were seeing the dark otherworld versions of those locations. Yeah. Whereas here, what happens is you will see the dark otherworld versions of locations, because that's where you do your profiling, but all of the fighting takes place in just a generic creepy series of hallways. And they're always laid out differently. In all three sequences, they're laid out differently, but it is the same graphical asset.
But it kind of makes sense if you think, oh, he's just transversing the people's minds.
Yes.
So the structure would probably
be very similar.
It would be the same, yeah.
No,
so it's not the otherworld invading like it was in Greenvale.
Yes.
It's still like contained.
I think that's a really good reading, and I think that's going to be the most believable explanation for why it happens. But if you're a little disappointed that like the sugar plantation where the first otherworld takes place doesn't have a different look than the mansion where the second one does, we noticed it too. It's a minor problem at best. Like, it's not a big problem.
But what's improved is the enemy designs.
Oh,
There's
love
more
the enemies.
variety.
Yeah.
And what I really liked is they each had their own little special attack that you had to look out for.
It's completely different than all the other ones. Yep.
Yeah. So I thought that was a great improvement.
Huge improvement. Totally agree with you on that front. Like, because there's three different types. There's three different types of enemies, and then there's just each one has its own tougher variation. And I love how the guy, I'm not going to say how he does it because it was such a pleasant surprise, but the guy who was in the trailer, the guy who's chained to a door, he has such an awesome attack. I love his special attack.
I actually talk about that in my review.
Oh, you talk about it in your review, so it's fine to mention it here then. Okay. But yes, talk about that awesome attack, please.
So basically what happens is he's chained up and he notices you, he'll like turn his back so you can't, if you try to shoot him, it'd be like less hit points get taken off.
Yeah.
But then he'll start shaking like really hard and the locks on his chains would fall off and then sprout little legs and then scurry towards York to try to blow up in his face. It was great.
Yeah, they're amazing. It's such a clever enemy design. I loved that guy.
Yeah, this is the enemy you see York fighting in the trailers.
Yeah, this is the enemy. You don't see the other two enemies in the trailers, so we're not going to give you too many details about those, because one of them is only in the third chapter, so I'm not going to spoil that at all. But yeah, there are some nice things that the enemy do. There's some interesting visuals. Each one, as you said, has its own custom attack. They put a lot of thought into this, quite clearly.
They do, just like the ones in the first game, they repeat these lines.
Yes.
Over and over and over. Snap, snap, snap!
I know.
Snap! I'm like, oh my god, shut up.
Well, one thing I found interesting, right, is that it's like, both times, both in the original and here, a thing I find genuinely interesting is you're learning stuff about the world of the game by what the enemies say. Because, like, all the shadows are the damned souls who are trapped, and the pain that they were left in because they were attacked, during the original Greenvale massacre. And honestly, all of the other horrible crimes that have happened in the city since. It's a place with a dark history for a good reason. Right? And this time, all of the guys there's the theme to the stuff they say to you, which is all of them are like telling you that like essentially, I'm not going to say go so far as suicide, right? To make that the representation or theme, but every single one of them like implies or outright says that you should let them kill you, that you want this, that, you know, this is what's supposed to happen. And I'm like, that's a very eerie way. Let me
control you. Let me cut you. Let me,
want pain.
You know.
You want to die. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Jesus, that got rough fast.
Yeah.
I really liked that. Because again, he's going that extra step with doing something interesting with the enemies that not everybody would do. Yeah. So the enemies in and of themselves have interesting stuff to say and are thematically fascinating. In the way you expect from Deadly Premonition. Please.
Did you find it a little weird to be shooting animals?
Yeah, it was. Because, I mean, we're told specifically that we are not killing any animals. This is just a tranq gun, don't worry. But, like...
Except one side mission where you have to...
Exterminate
get
them.
Something.
Yeah.
Well, no. It says exterminate, and then there's another one where you have to get an item, and that involves digging into their stomach.
I know.
So it's like, I think I killed this animal
Pretty
to
sure
do
that
this.
animal died. And, like, I get why you have to kill, like, if you're killing, I understand, like, on one level, why you would have to kill a wild dog. Rabies is really bad, and wild dogs are incredibly dangerous. I get that.
Lucre has a really bad dog problem.
Oh, does
Holy
it ever? There are
shit.
feral monster dogs everywhere.
Oh my god. They're just, like, hanging out in packs in certain areas.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
What the hell is with this town?
I know.
And the squirrels are hella mean. What the fuck?
They're such cruel
squirrels. What did I
squirrels.
do to you, squirrel?
I know, they're such
Why are you taking my
squirrels.
sleeping bag? Give it back. No.
One of the most entertaining, weird little things about the game, any item you have in your inventory, squirrels can steal, and then you have to shoot that squirrel and reclaim the item it stole.
And most of the time, I miss, and then they disappear.
It's tough to hit the squirrels, because you're not allowed to use lock-on in the real world. So you can't, lock on to the squirrels. I was pretty good at shooting the squirrels. Maybe that's why I have 94 compared to yours. I killed way more squirrels than you did. But yeah, like...
No, I killed a lot of squirrels. I killed
good.
a lot of animals.
You over the course of the game.
I tranked a lot of animals. Yeah.
Yeah, you shoot out the eye of a gator at one point in a cutscene, and I'm like, wait a minute, if this gun is powerful enough to shoot out the eye of a gator, I think I might have been killing those squirrels.
Well, I mean, come on, a projectile going into an eye, of course you're
right.
going to make it explode. but yeah, it's basically you shoot them and they just like keel over and disappear.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
they're
not dead.
Yes, exactly. We're allowed to assume they're not dead.
But you would take their tail...
Or their skull.
Or their skin or their skull. So it's like, game... Don't lie to me.
I know I'm hunting animals.
I know I'm killing them.
I can solve this problem.
But in the inventory you have rubber bullets, and then when you get Mr. Alligator, which is the name of the gun that York uses in the real world, he gets from Melvin, the sheriff. It's like non-lethal bullets.
Yeah, it explicitly says...
Stop lying. Stop lying.
Well, you know what? I enjoy the fig leaf justification. There, I said it. I accept the fig leaf justification. It's fine. I didn't kill any animals. There. No, it is weird.
But I did like it was kind of funny. I was exploring. And I was over at the trailers, and I saw a bunch of squirrels, and then I'm like, why is there a blue squirrel? What the hell?
You found out about the rare monsters that give you a cash bonus.
Yeah, I would shoot the shit out of all the rare ones.
I think I ended the game with like $16,000 or something crazy like that.
Oh, we should talk about the money.
Oh, yeah.
So this game's a little bit... It's calmed down with prices and how much money York gets.
Yeah.
Though, don't worry, if you explore and you shoot things, you will get a lot of money
so quickly.
I was like, oh man, $600 of the hotel fee is like $200. I'm going to run out of money. Yeah, that's not an issue. Don't worry.
Yeah, the first day, you're right. The exact same thing happened to me, where it's like literally the first time I get hit with the $150 a day hotel bill. I'm like, oh God, I'm never going to be able to afford this. But no, the game just throws money at you. Hand over fist.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
But not as quickly as it does in Deadly Premonition 1. No. And I did like that the prices made sense in this game.
Yes, the prices aren't completely... Oh, you want a thing of cheddar cheese? $35. What? You want a cigarette?
No.
That'll be $120. I don't think you understand prices. $60 coffee. Okay. No, this one is more fair. All right, so here's going to be the least controversial thing I'm going to ask for everyone but you, which is why I'm asking the question to you. How do you feel about them removing Agent Honor from the game? Because I'm fine with
sad.
It. You know,
I'm sad.
You're sad.
I liked the Agent Honor. That was like my favorite thing to collect.
Just walk around collecting all that Agent Honor.
Well, speaking about collecting, I felt that this game, the item collection, was kind of annoying just because I understood they were collectibles and you have to hunt for that little speck to pick up.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
I just did not like that it was the same for when you were getting items from enemies. Like, that should have been more clear.
Yeah, whenever an item drops, I agree with you 100%. There should be a great big glowing circle like there was in the first.
Or automatically give it to me.
That would work too, yeah. Or like if you walk within 5 feet of an item, you automatically pick it up. Don't make me jam on the button.
Hunting for that speck so I would get the little eye to pop up.
That was bad.
Was really annoying. And I understand that there's a mechanic to help you with the whole vision, but even with that vision,
it's a hassle.
Sometimes it was still a struggle because I'm like, I'm on the X. Where is it? And it's like, oh, it's on the other side of that little fence right there. And I'm just on the wrong side. It's like, oh, fuck.
And I think it's worth mentioning, and we should mention this. It's buggy. Like, it is buggy.
Mm-hmm.
It's still buggy. There's no way around it. Like, we can't, there's no way to sugarcoat it. This game has a lot of glitches.
So, like, the Emblem Hunt, one thing that kind of was annoying the shit out of me was I'd be in the spot just like it is in the photo.
Yeah, I know.
But apparently I was just a little too close or a little too far and it wouldn't pop.
Yeah, so they don't code it right. So theoretically, when you're doing the Emblem Hunt, right? So the idea is they'll give you a photograph of a part of the town. So you're supposed to go there, and when you're standing roughly in the position where the picture was taken, an exclamation point will pop over your head, right? And then you're supposed to go into your mode and look where the Fleur-De-Lis was, and you'd get the Fleur-De-Lis emblem. And if this game had been coded well, then the moment that exclamation point appears over your head, the Fleur-De-Lis would be findable. But it's not. There is a huge range of spaces where you can stand and still have an exclamation point over your head, but the Fleur-De-Lis can't be seen. And it's a big problem.
Yeah. And sometimes I just do it and I don't even see it, but apparently it pops off to the side, and I guess I was close enough to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm in the right spot. But other times, I am looking, like the little Fleur-De-Lis was in the middle of a building.
Yeah.
Like you can't, it's obvious where it should be, and I'm looking at the middle of the building. But it wouldn't pop because I was a little bit too close or a little bit too far.
And honestly, sometimes the Fleur-De-Lis ain't exactly where they show you in the picture. That's also
no, they're not.
So yeah, there are bugs. We each had some crashes. I had, I think, 3 crashes over the course of the game. I don't know what your total was.
I had, for hard crashes, I had 2.
Yeah, I had 2 hard crashes.
And usually when it was trying to load the open world section from a building, I did have a part where I went to go start a side mission, and then York just fell through the ground into blackness.
No! Oh.
Yeah, so I lost 20 minutes, and then I also had some issues where the map and submenu would refuse to load with the button press.
That's weird.
So I'd have to exit out of the game. And then another time I had it where the side mission, pop-up window got stuck.
Damn.
And it wouldn't go away.
That's terrible.
So I had to restart the game.
Okay, you had way more crashes than I did.
I ran into quite a few, but let me just say this again. didn't happen all the time.
No.
It was very sporadic. So
I don't think it's not terrible. It's not game breaking. And I want to point out that the game, there are phones everywhere. Like there are places to save. You just have to phone Bob Abrahams, just like in the first one. If you want to save, you just phone up Bob. And the issue this time is, there are phones. You will never have a hard time finding a phone. So just if you've noticed, I've been playing for 10 minutes and I haven't done anything significant in the game, just save it up. Just quickly drop over, save the thing, and then keep right on going. And after being warned by you, I saved all the time. And you know what? I never lost more than, I would say, 5-10 minutes of gameplay. I mean, it sucks that I lost anything. I'm not happy about it, but I never lost much, and it was never a big problem. I never lost hours of gameplay the way you did. Oof.
Oh, yeah, I did. Did you, you told me that there's an update?
There has been a patch, yeah. Last time I loaded the game, it said it had to do the patch before it would let me start.
I didn't get that yet.
No. Maybe it happened overnight while you were sleeping? Maybe it auto-patched? Interesting. Actually, I don't think it can auto-patch. Hold on. Try loading
what version of the game do you have?
I haven't checked.
Let's see. I'm going to look
All
at
I know is
my game version.
when I went to load it, it told me, no, you've got to patch it before you can load it. Well,
so
as always, it does the thing where it's like, well, you don't have to patch, but you won't be able to use online features. And I'm like, does the game have online?
So I have version 1.0.1.
All right, I'm sure that's the update. I mean, because that means it's been updated once. I'm sure that's what I have too. If you'd like me to check, I will.
Yeah, can you check? I'm just curious.
Beautiful thing about the Switch is I can just pick it up. Bring it over to my computer. All right, here we go. Deadly Premonition. How do I find out what what version it is?
Highlight the game and hit the plus button.
All right, highlight the game
and then go to software info.
1.0.1. So yeah, yours has been updated to where mine is. I don't know how you missed it.
Okay, well then it's still
buggy.
Still has some issues.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had it where yesterday it tried to load up the map and it was like, nope. I'm like, oh fuck. Let me go save. Let me exit.
Yeah, that's the worst. Actually, you know what happened to me one time?
Guys, it's still...
This isn't a bug.
Still
this
buggy.
is just slightly embarrassing. Here's what happened to me one time. I walked down an alley, and the alley was a dead end. And Patricia had followed me down the alley. And you can't move Patricia. So I got stuck in the alley for a minute. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Do I have to reset the game?
Just try to get on the skateboard.
I know. No, that's what it figured out. I figured out after a minute that if I press the skateboard button, she automatically disappears. But it took me a full minute to figure it out.
I was like, Patricia, you need to move.
So, speaking of this game's weirdness and quirkiness and bugginess, I'm going to ask you a question. And I want you to tell me something. Did you ever punch anybody in the game?
Yes, by accident.
No, but I mean, that you were supposed to punch.
I didn't punch any people that I was supposed to punch.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Like,
dog.
is there a reason that there is a punch button in the game? Because there's a punch button in this game.
Yeah, I accidentally punched Patricia.
Yeah, I did that too.
And I accidentally punched a patron of the diner.
I punched a guy in the street, but same thing.
And I ran into people on my skateboard.
Oh, well, yeah, all
accident.
the time. But I mean, that's not.
But I think the punch is there because if you run out of bullets, you need some way to defend yourself from the animals. And
that's what the pistol whip is for.
I punched a dog.
My point is, that's what the pistol whip is for. If you have no bullets, you still have to aim, so you hold down the button, and you click, and you do the pistol whip. Like, there's no reason to punch.
I also punched open boxes and stuff.
But I'm saying that's redundant, and the pistol whip does that just as effectively. I'm like, I don't understand why the unarmed punch is in the game, because there's never any need to use it. Because whenever you're in a combat context, you shouldn't be running out of bullets. The game just gives you bullets hand over fist all the time. Like,
well, don't forget, in the first chapter, you don't get Mr. Alligator until you go to the Clarkson's food place and talk to Melvin. So there's a a stretch of the game where you don't have a gun.
Yeah, but it's not much of a stretch of the game. It's literally like going to the food warehouse is like the first thing you do.
It depends on how you were playing because I didn't go there for a couple hours.
That's true. And you would be in a lot of trouble with dogs. It seems so weird to me to have an unarmed attack that likely most people will go through the entire game never using once.
Except
accidentally when you punch Patricia because you thought you were pressing the run button. Yes, obviously.
I was like, oh shit, sorry.
Yeah.
Did you notice that sometimes the cars would just crash onto the sidewalks?
Yes.
Because I would just be minding my own business and then they would just be like, boom! I'm like, what the fuck?
What just happened?
And I look.
Yeah, when the cars, they do wide turns, so sometimes their turns take them right up onto the sidewalk.
And I'm like, why is this random boom noise always happening in the game? And finally, I turned to see a car, like, stuck on a sidewalk. I'm like, oh. Also, those drivers are really mean because I'm just minding my own business and I got run over.
So many times. And they never stop, by the way. They run you over and they don't stop. They just keep right on driving.
You're standing on the road, Patricia, trying to look for an emblem or whatever, and a car will just come whizzing by. I'm like, hello, pedestrians in the road.
There's literally a child standing here.
I think she got hurt at one point because I got a...
Yeah, you get a penalty if she gets hurt by a car or a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you play the game very carefully, you can bring Patricia out with you at monster time. And she can get hurt by monsters, and it will... I mean, I don't think she can get killed, but you will get a cash penalty every time she gets hurt by one of the monsters.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of cash penalties, did you let York get Stinky?
No, I never actually got all the way Stinky.
You need to do it.
Okay.
It is hilarious.
Because I assume everybody reacts to him in an interesting way?
People react. The NPCs will run away from him.
That's amazing. And
like the side characters you can actually talk to, they can't run away, but they'll hold their nose while they're talking to you.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then every time you talk to them, and not, go get cleaned up, you'll get dinged like an extra $5. So there will be like it starts at like $50 for obstructing a business for being smelly and entering their business. And each time you persist, it's another $5 tacked on. Each time you persist to talk to somebody while Stinky, will get you another $5. So I'm talking to David or something and I'm Stinky and it's like $50. $50.
50.
And then $55.
Oh, that's so good.
60. Yeah. So I liked how Suri expanded some of the consequences of being Stinky, because your suit can get dirty and you'll still get like a ding for having a dirty suit, but then you'll have a BO as well, which is a new thing.
Yeah, the BO meter was great.
And I also liked I got a bonus though for being drunk. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Instead of getting money taken away, I got $100 for being drunk. I was like, okay,
I'll take
drinking. Did you get completely wasted? I did.
Oh yeah,
that was fun.
He cannot stand. He basically can't stand. It's fantastic. Like he can't walk.
Runs into a wall.
Runs into walls. Like, don't try to skateboard. Don't try to shoot.
I made my way home.
Nice.
But yeah, you cannot. Your concentration's really bad, so do not get caught in a fight because you're gonna lose.
Oh, absolutely. No, that was such a nice touch. Yeah, being able to get York just so drunk made me incredibly happy.
So I did like the expansion of those sorts of little statuses.
The life simulation mechanics that he had in the first one. He really, you're right, he's massively expanded that this time, and it's much more interesting as a result.
Did you did you do the past your side mission?
Yes. Yeah, where you had to do all of the... there's a side mission in the game where you have to learn about all of the conditions, except for peril. Right? So all the health conditions.
Yeah, there was no paralyze, yeah. So that was the only time I got chills, because I never slept outside. I just went to the hotel.
Yeah, the hotel's very convenient, isn't it? I think sleeping outside is a good way to pass a bunch of time if you don't want to smoke. Because the thing is, there are two ways to pass time in the game. You can sleep or you can smoke, and they give you a sleeping bag, so if you don't feel like smoking, you can literally just hop into a sleeping bag anytime you want and sleep for exactly as many hours you want. The only difference is if you sleep outside, there's a good chance you're going to get a cold, which is what they call chills.
Well, unless you go to the section with like the barrel and stuff.
Exactly. Yes, you can go to you can area. Light a heated barrel as a hobo fire, so you don't get the chills, or you can't be attacked by monsters. But that will massively affect your cleanliness and your BO very quickly. So there's always like reasons to do stuff and reasons not to do stuff. It's all I think it's safe to say it's balanced very well.
Yeah. So that was really the only status in the game I only did once. I mean, I got poisoned because of the killer bees.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the killer bees can poison you, and one of the bosses can poison you, and one of the enemies, and you can get, what's the other? Oh yeah, and then paralyzed, one of the enemies can do that to you. So yeah, like, and there's items for dealing with all of this stuff, and you can just, as long as you have one of each.
I did find it amusing that there was pills, so you weren't drunk anymore.
I know.
I don't think this is fantasy now.
A beautiful fantasy that you can sober up with a pill immediately. I know.
My squirrels would take them. I'd buy them. Like, okay, I'll get some pills, so I have them on it. Then the squirrels would steal them from me, and I'm like, fuck.
Squirrels are the worst. That's why I love them. Yeah, and the funny part is, one thing the game does, this is kind of neat, is that they are so worried about the combat being too difficult that literally every monster has like a 20% chance of anytime you killing it, dropping the item that cures you of the status condition it creates. So there's a monster that puts you into paralytic shock, but it's like, and you have to take the anti-numb serum to deal with it. But literally, whenever I did one of the other world sequences that had the guys who put you in paralytic shock, by the end of it I would have like 15 things to cure me from paralytic shock. So it's like the game never wants to punish you or make you feel like you're trapped or you can't get out of a fighting sequence. So they give you lots of bullets, they give you lots of stuff to cure yourself, and yeah, it's very fair. And I can't stress enough, just by comparison, how easy the combat is.
The only problem I think occurs with the BO, and you haven't fixed your shower. Yeah, because then you can't shower.
Yeah, that is a problem.
But you still have mint gum, little rollers, and perfume. Yes, that you can use to cover the musk smell.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Which just sounds gross to me because now he'll just
smell like perfume
smell really
and BO. I know it's not a good combination. I don't think.
Yeah,
but no, it's fantastic. Like they put all of those extra life simulation things in. They give you a reason to like harvest from the guys you kill. I didn't get as into the crafting system as I could have. Like you said, I mean, you didn't obviously either because you didn't even know of all the stuff you could build.
No.
But there is a lot of depth here. The world is interesting. The characters are great. Like there's a ton of stuff to do in town. I just wish they held your hand just a little bit more and made it a little bit more accessible, you know?
What I did really enjoy about the town was it was varied. Mm-hmm. There was like distinct residential, business, like high class versus low class, like sides of town. Yeah. And even the landscape was different depending on where you were.
Oh, totally. I every part of town looks very different. And you can immediately, through a lot of the pictures when you're doing the Fleur-De-Lis hunt, you can tell what part of town it is just by what the trees are like there. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it very much feels like a real place. Like one of the problems with Greenvale in the original is at times it doesn't feel like the town is big enough for the amount of people we're told live there, right? There's just not that many houses that people could conceivably live in, but we're told that thousands of people live in this town. And I'm like, where? You know? But for the size we're told that this game is, the town in this game is, there is enough housing for all of those people to believably live there. And I thought that was a nice touch. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's still some things that repeat.
Oh, like of course, yeah, no, you'll see the same houses repeating, absolutely.
But I liked the variety. Like, there's actually different types of houses.
Oh yeah, a lot of different.
Some houses have like porches or second floors or whatever. I like even different types of trailers too, which is really nice detail.
Yeah, it's not even just one type of trailer in the whole place. There's shacks, there's mansions, there's a lot of variety. It's a really nice, like, they've gone to a lot of trouble to make it feel like a real place, even more so than Greenvale did. Okay, I don't believe that you need that many different farm supply stores in one town.
No, I'm like, is this a new Mash Brothers market here?
I know, right?
I'm like, wow, there's lots of farm supply places.
All right.
There's 2 gas stations too.
I know.
Yeah, on each side of town, which I thought was a nice little touch.
Yeah, I know. This is it's a little more built up than it probably should be in a couple of ways, but you're not going to hear me complaining. I just love the world. I love this town. It's a really nice location.
Yeah. It was nice because Swery was able to finally do kind of the detailed town he wanted.
Yeah.
Though I was really surprised he did not put in a movie theater.
I know. I was disappointed. Finally, do with the thing that he wanted to do all along, which is have a movie theater and have it being able to play copyright clear, like out of copyright movies. That would have been so nice to actually just go in there and have York watch a movie.
Yeah, and they nipped that in the bud right away when it's like, hey, Patricia, what kind of movies do you like? Well, there isn't a movie theater. I have to watch movies on TV.
So that,
I was like, oh.
I know, disappointing.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I don't know how believable that is. Everywhere there's like a movie theater somewhere, isn't there?
Not everywhere. No, I mean, if it's town small enough, they might not have a movie theater. Like, it is true. It feels like there's movie theater everywhere, but there are people who grow up having to drive 50 miles to go see a movie in America. Because as York talks about in the thing, America's impossibly huge and completely empty. Like, nobody lives in the vast majority of America. It's just empty space. And this is one of those towns that's, off in the middle of nowhere, and very few people live there, and they just don't have any major amenities. They are a place that, the whole industry of this town is that it is the meatpacking plant for, like, all of the farmland in the hundreds of miles around, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so that's...
And they have sugarcane as well,
They also have sugarcane farms, yes. But yeah, it's like all of the cows and the hogs get brought in on trucks, and they, from the slaughter, well, not the meatpacking, this is the shipping place. So it's like all the slaughterhouses, they all ship the meat here, and the meat gets packaged and sent out all the world. And that's, whether that's hogs or beef or lots and lots and lots of crawfish, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Lots to talk about crawfish in this. Right.
But not okra.
Not okra, of all things. Why no okra, guys? But yeah, I thought that was a really nice touch that you learn about how this town works right away. And it is like the breadbasket of southeastern Louisiana, where it's like all of the food that goes out to southeastern Louisiana comes through on Clarkson trucks, right? And goes through this plant. So yeah, it's a very nice touch. Ugh. Yeah, no, it's a great world. Love the characters. Really, actually, like I said, I would have liked to have gotten to know them better, but all of them are built out really well. Biggest surprise, of course, was, I'm not going to spoil the journey he goes on, but how much you end up liking Danny by the end of the game. Like, yeah. He is such it's there. Swery loves his reversals, and Danny starts off as such a ridiculous, contemptible buffoon. And then you can go and talk to him a number of times and figure out where he's coming from and do side quests for him. And it's like, yeah, you really thought this character through. So way to go, Swery. But sorry.
I did find it amusing with Tyrone.
Yeah.
So there's this character, he's the bartender.
Xavier.
Of the Owl's Nest. What?
Xavier is the bartender of the Owl's Nest. Tyrone is the priest.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I got their names.
It's fine.
Okay, yes. Xavier. He's so silly.
Yeah.
But he's so deep about his drinks.
I know.
And York sees him and he's like, why aren't you wearing clothes?
I know.
He just wears his, he's just in some tidy whities when you meet him.
Yeah.
But I found it really amusing that on Sunday, he dresses up.
Yeah.
Because he's going to church.
And he also dresses up to go practice skateboarding with Emma.
His girlfriend?
No, with Emma from the band.
That's his girlfriend.
Oh, right. His girlfriend. Yes. Emma from the band.
Which is
a
little bit young for him. She's 16.
I know. Very creepy. But it's a small
Xavier,
town.
You're a little bit Weird.
But it's a small town. It's Louisiana, so I'm sure it's perfectly legal for people to date when they're 16, which is kind of creepy. But Xavier's kind of creepy. So
I don't even know how old Xavier is, but the fact that he's a bartender.
He's a bartender. He runs his own bar.
Seems to be an adult.
He's a full-grown man, like he is.
Well, it's not his bar though.
Well,
he works
he runs
for somebody, but
like he runs the whole bar, and he had experience working in other places before he took over the bar. So it's like, yeah, he's not a young man, and it is creepy that he's dating Emma, like 100%.
And I was like, oh, wait, shit, that's his girlfriend? Yeah. Okay. I guess Tyrone's okay with that, but all right.
I'm certainly recoiling a little. But yeah, like like he'll go and skateboard, and it's kind of great. Like all of these characters have other things going on. Like, again, Tyrone, really weird religious nut in a creepy way. Also,
the Lord hug us!
I know. But also, talented piano player who plays in a jazz band.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that about him. There's like, everybody has depth in this. Like the characters, and they all have, and this is one of the things I like most, they all have depth that doesn't necessarily need to affect the game and affect the plot. There's just like, no, these are real people with full personalities beyond the little bit we get to know about them. They have lives that don't begin and end.
There's one character.
Please.
I wish we got to talk more with, like outside of Maine. I'm not going to mention who they are, but the owner of the bar.
Yes.
I saw them in there drinking, sitting at the bar, and I was like, I want to talk to them,
but we didn't get a chance to.
I can't.
I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Very disappointing.
I wanted to talk with them more.
Yeah, that is a character that I would have loved to hear more of the opinions of, the feelings of, their view on this town and this world. And we're not going to say why, but 100% I would have appreciated as well being able to spend a little more time with that character.
But maybe, I'm wondering, maybe I just missed
It's possible.
Maybe there's somewhere that you can, after meeting them, that you could go and talk. Because I met others at the bar when I went there, Emma and, oh shit, I just lost, Yahoo?
Raven, yeah. Her ridiculous name is Raven Yahoo.
Yeah, she was at the bar. I was able to talk to them while they were, I guess, taking a break from playing on the weekend or whatever.
You can't talk to the bar owner.
No.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's very frustrating. And that's one of those characters, and there's another character I would have liked to have seen in town, because I think it would have been very clever, but that's a spoiler territory, so I'm not going to get into it. Suffice to say that I've got one of those of my own that I would have very much liked to see, but I don't think there is. But you and I are going to save that for another podcast. Because
now I'm wondering who you're talking about.
You'll know right away, don't worry. I'm just, I'm being coy, but you'll know right away when I say it later. But yeah, like it's again, there isn't as much to do with the characters, which is a disappointment, but it still feels like a full breathing, realized world in a way that video game settings very rarely do. Like, I think Le Carré is every bit as well designed a city, even more so in a lot of ways than Greenvale ever was. So yeah, it's very impressive. Also, and that's not just because I love the map, but I do love the map.
I do like how things are more like centered.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's square.
Oh, absolutely.
Apparently the name means square.
Yeah.
In France.
It means Le Carré, the square.
So I did like how things are closer together.
Yes.
And it made more sense to just be skateboarding around.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, you were never, like, the hotel is literally right in the middle of town. You don't have to, at the end of every day, drive off into the boondocks and then take a 5-minute drive the next day to get back to the police station. No, literally, the police station is just around the corner from the hotel. Everything is easy to get to. Everything is much easier to find. They really thought this through completely in a great way. I love that.
So I'm gonna ask you a hard question. Okay. Deadly Premonition 1 or 2?
I can't decide that yet. I've only played it once. Come on. I'll say this about it though. So I made this joke, I think on Twitter, and I know I talked to you about this, but it's like, Swery's work in this one is so much more confident than his work in Deadly Premonition 1. Like, because he knows this is a game that could be, like, ruined by knowing that the first one was this big cult hit and him wanting to just do the same thing again. But he really isn't just doing the same thing again. Like, you'll see similar themes and a few similar events, but that's because the world this is set in, that's the kind of stuff that happens in it. So it's not just a rehash of Deadly Premonition in any way, shape, or form. But in the first Deadly Premonition, right, the thing I'm getting at is, in the first Deadly Premonition, I don't think starting the game, you would have the slightest idea how emotionally resonant that game is going to be by the end. How much you're going to care about that world by the end of that story. Like, I don't think anyone goes in thinking, oh no, this is going to be the most jarring emotional experience a video game has ever given me. This game...
Well, that's what gets a lot of people... Like, they think they're just playing a goofy game, but by the end game, they're like, oh my god.
This is wrenching.
This story.
It is.
Yeah.
It wrenches you. And so what I was going to say about this game is, something happens at the beginning of this game that is only a much more confident than the first game storyteller would do, which is, at the beginning of this game, like, the first game surprises you with how deeply emotional it is and how much you care about the characters. This game, right at the start of the game, he does something that I would refer to only as him calling his shot. And it's like, when you first meet Patricia, right?
Yes.
I'm not gonna say what happens, because I want people to enjoy this. It's not a huge spoiler. It's literally the first thing that happens. It's in the IGN video, but I don't want to get too much into it. But when that thing happens, when you first meet Patricia and you make a contract with her, I'm like, what is really happening in this scene is Swery is making a contract with the audience that we're going to be crying at the end of this game. You know, that is what he is saying. You're going to be crying at the end of this game. This time I'm being very open about the fact that I want your emotions on board this time. I want you to care about this situation. I want you to care about these characters. I want you to care about what's happening. That's what he does in that first scene. And he did it. He pulled it off. I cried at the end of this game. I don't know if you did, but it's like, at a scene where blank happens and then blank talks to blank, I was crying at the end of this game. I teared up.
I didn't cry, but it was very
emotional.
It was very emotional. Yeah.
I don't know, like, I mean, I'm fine saying I cried at the end of Deadly Premonition, and I cried at the end of Deadly Premonition too. Not the end, not the last scene, like I did in Deadly Premonition, but there's a moment in this game's climax, in the big final showdown at the end of the game, the context of which I won't give you, where I'm like, I just completely lost it, because I'm like, this is so beautiful. I'm sure you know the exact scene I'm talking about.
I think I know the scene you're talking about. What got me, I talked about this just briefly in my review, was what I really enjoyed. It really was the best of both worlds.
Yeah. We
got to investigate with York, but then we also got to see Zach and how he was coping with the end of Deadly Premonition 1, the Greenvale case. And the juxtaposition between these two cases, it just, my heart was like in a constant like, oh.
I know.
Because York would be talking to Zach about how, they're always going to be together, and you just know that in 5 years they're not going to be together, and then you're interviewing Zach in 2019, and it's just so depressing.
It is.
Just what his life has become at that point.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so,
it's
my
wrenching.
heart
It's
was
wrenching.
just, it's wrenching. Like, the entire time I was just like, come on, game.
You can't do this to me.
Are we going to get a happy ending? It doesn't seem like we're going to get any sort of happy ending here.
And we're not going to reveal what happens, but I'm just going to say there was, in that ending, like in that big climax, a perfect moment. And but before we wrap this up, we should talk about one thing we haven't talked about at all, because I guess we're dum-dums. How in the entire present day scene, you're not playing as York Morgan or Zach Morgan.
Oh, you mean it?
You were playing as the people who come to interview them.
Oh, yeah. So, in 2019, you were in control of Aaliyah Davis, who, it's a very interesting character.
Oh, yeah. She's great.
She's very observant, and it's something that even Zach mentions, like, he's like, wow, you know, you might actually have a similar ability, a gift. But she grew up, she lost her parents.
In Katrina.
Katrina. And she has this, her quirk is quoting Nietzsche.
Yes.
Like, all the time. And her partner's quirk is talking about pizza all the time, to the point where I was like, dude, you are ridiculous. You need to stop.
You need to stop talking about Chicago deep dish pizza.
Oh, my goodness. So, was that a spoiler to mention about her parents?
No.
Mentions...
I mean, no. There's other stuff about her that is a spoiler. But no. Saying that she lost her parents in Katrina is not a spoiler. Because, I mean, they would have to be in the game and it would have to be relevant. No, you don't meet her parents in the 2005. York is not responsible for their death or anything like that. No, like, she just lost her parents in Katrina, and she is a she is a Louisiana FBI agent, right? And that's why she's involved, because all of this went down in Louisiana. But no, she's from Louisiana. She's still an agent there, and she's obsessed with Nietzsche because she was so shattered by the death of her parents that she's like, nope, existentialism is it.
She explained it.
Oh, no, but I'm saying that's like she found comfort in...
She found comfort because of the professor.
The guy. Yes, but I'm saying that the level of it is, it's like, well, if your parents died, you have to just embrace the madness of Katrina, and that's what she's done.
Yeah. I did like how they fleshed out both of their characters, the two agents.
They're both fully realized people again.
It was kind of weird. It was a little bit weird having an outsider's
perspective.
Of Zach and his methods. Like, you know, his investigation methods are weird. Mm-hmm. You know that playing, but to see her frustration and
I just want a straight answer from you, you know? Like, just give me a straight answer about what you did here. And he's like, how can he explain that I used my psychic powers to go to another dimension where I found truths inside people's heads? Like, no, that's not something they teach you at Quantico, and it's not something you can testify in court.
Oh, but there's something I do want to say. Yeah. Why'd they change his boss's name? It was Abrams in the first game, unless Jeff Kramer mispronounced his name in the first game.
Yeah,
it was Abrams, but now it's Abrahams. Like,
he might just be a pronunciation issue.
But even in the text, it said Abrams.
I know, it's very weird. I think it might have just been a minor mistake they made.
It's supposed to be the same guy.
Oh, no, 100%. It's the same. There's no question that it's the same guy.
There wasn't like another.
There's not
FBI
a Bob
dude.
Abrams and a Bob Abrahams. No, that was just a mistake.
Yeah.
It's a. Okay. You're right. It's a mistake they shouldn't have made. But that one I guarantee is just a mistake.
I did like how this game kind of explained how York is able to just get away with shit.
Because he solves things. He solves every crime.
Apparently is their top guy. Like,
they don't know how he does it.
Stuff. Yeah.
They don't know how he does it, but he always solves the crime. So they get out of his way and they let him do it.
And that's something that she's just like,
frustrates her.
Fuck this guy. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way a real human person could go on vacation and solve a case.
Yeah, you just ran
by
into
themselves.
I know.
Yeah.
She's so frustrated. It's such a great character.
So I liked that we saw this outsider's perception of,
and I think it's a genius
his
move.
Work.
I think it's a genius move by Swery, right, and his co-writer to like give us this external character and let us step out, like, because he has to assume, or I probably know, that everybody who's playing this game knows who Zach is and loves York. And so it's such a bold and smart move to be like, I'm going to tell the whole start of this game. And again, we're going to spend 3 hours of the game, you know, conservatively, depending on how far you get into the conversation trees, with this woman who has no time for York and Zach and is constantly challenging him and forcing him to explain himself. And I love that.
And also making Zach come off really suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
Like his reactions to her and her questions and just stuff in his apartment. It's like, oh, wait a minute.
What is he up
Did he
to?
Is he going too far off the deep end to the other side here?
He plays it like he's a villain. Like he might be a villain.
Is she right to be so suspicious of him?
We
do have all this baggage kind of going into the game. Yeah. Like, we know York and Zach, and they're near and dear to us, but here's this other character making us kind of rethink our feelings.
Yeah, it's so smart. And all of those scenes, all of the reveals in those scenes, it's very well written, it's very well acted, and we can't tell you any of the reveals, but they're all satisfying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good.
And I'm going to reiterate this, hopefully, if you're listening to this, you've already played the first game, because, man, we spoiled some shit for you.
We'll put a spoiler tag at the front of the...
I've seen a lot of people on Twitter asking, do I need to play the first game?
Yes.
Do I really need to play the first game? It's like, yes. It's guys, it's heavily connected to the first game, and what happens in that game. You need to know what happens in the Greenvale case.
Watch our story explain video if you have to, but play the game.
This game, it mentions Greenvale.
It's a direct
talks
sequel.
A little bit, but it doesn't recap it for you. It may be a line here and there about recapping the case.
They don't tell you what happened in Greenvale.
No, not what
not
really
in any
happened in
meaningful
Greenvale.
way. No, the game does not hold your hand with that.
Zach leaves stuff out of the report.
Yep. And
she's like, dude, who's this person? Why were they removed from the...
Yeah, why were they taken out of the report?
The report. Yeah.
I know.
So you need context for this game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would tell... And I would tell anybody to play Deadly Premonition anyway, but yeah. I can only imagine how baffling this game must be if you haven't played Deadly Premonition. I do not envy anyone trying to play this without having played Deadly Premonition, because I think it would just be gibberish. That is what I suspect.
They're like, why they're visiting a guy named Zach, asking him about the case. Why the hell are we some guy named York now?
I know.
What
Imagine
happened?
not knowing who York and Zach are. And trying to play this. Be insane. Although still my favorite, I got 100 favorite things in this series, but one of the best things in this entire series is that FBI badge with the signature that says Francis and then a word you can either easily read as York or Zach.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Such a brilliant move that you can, and it's like, because it's something you would never think about first, but when you look at the signature, you're like, no, that could easily be either. No matter what he says, that badge works for the name. Such a brilliant choice. Well,
we do know that he is introducing himself as Zach and stuff.
Yeah, because
no one knows him as York.
No, obviously. And yes, the guy who has the adventure, we're seeing York and we're playing as York, but the crazy part is, this game never explains that the way the first game did. This game, you have to play the first game, because this game doesn't explain the fact that, when we were going around introducing ourselves as York, blah, 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 what was actually happening was a weird-looking man with a giant facial scar, white hair, and, a jacked-up eye was talking. It was introducing to himself to people as Zach. Mm-hmm. And the game never explains that.
Well, you kind of get that in the last...
Oh, no, in the last scene, but I'm just saying you don't get the clear...
No, not the last scene, but, the last battle.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yes. In the climax of the game,
they
address the issue, but it's addressing the issue in a way that... I think it's addressed by the game in a way that kind of assumes the player knows what's going on. Right?
Yes. And I agree with that.
Yeah, so anyway. So to wrap up, people have to play this game, right?
Oh, definitely.
It's amazing.
If you loved the first game and you want more York and Zach in your lives, you can't go wrong with this. I think what I liked most about this game was how it fleshed out Zach as a character, his own person, It wasn't just York and this guy we meet briefly. You get to know Zach and you feel his loss.
Yeah.
Just like, it made me really appreciate Zach as a person
he is,
of his own.
Because the thing is, you and I had such misgivings about this game when we saw, because the ending for York and Zack is so beautiful at the end of Deadly Premonition, right? And to see what a mess Zack has become by the end, by the start of Deadly Premonition 2, the 2019 stuff, you're horrified. You feel sick to your stomach for this character that you love, that he didn't get his fresh start, that he ended up becoming this broken husk of a man, right? He never got his fresh start.
2 years after the case, he's desk duty, and then he retires.
And he retires at age 43 or whatever. He retires so young because he's been so broken by experiences.
Well, actually, if it's 2 years, it's 35.
Oh God, yeah. No. They say in the game that he retired in his 40s, so I think he was just turned 40.
So I guess he was just on desk duty for a couple
what happened
years
was, he took 2 years off after Greenvale. So he takes 20 to 20, and then he worked for 4 more years, for 3 more years. Then he retired at age 40. And for the past 4 years, from 2015 to 2019, they have been monitoring him in his apartment when he didn't go anywhere or do anything.
Though I gotta say, that wasn't explained.
No, I think I would have assumed that Bob's just worried about him. You know?
So you think it was just I need to look over him because there's something wrong?
Because, his powers have done so much good for me for so long. I feel like Bob just has the duty to keep an eye on him. But you're right that it's never explained. But
it's never laid out why he was under surveillance.
Spoiler alert, we never meet Bob.
You can make a guess then.
That is my, I would say educated guess, but I mean, it sounds right to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes sense, especially given,
the stuff that happens.
How quickly someone could get a plane. So,
well, yeah, that is his relationship with Bob. That all he has to do is phone Bob and say, "I need a private plane," and Bob will give him a private plane. I think
no questions asked. He's like, okay.
Yeah, because that's the kind of relationship they have. He has done so much good for Bob for so long. I totally believe that is how he would. That is their relationship. So yeah, I assume that.
And Aaliyah lays it all out, the cases he sold back to back, these tough nut cases where
nobody could crack. One after another.
Yeah,
he was the only one who could crack them. God, such a good character, such a good world. No, they really.
And you think he'd be a Gary Stu, but he's not.
He's not at all,
because he has all these faults still.
He's such a messed up guy. And that's the thing. He's not good with people. He is a messed up guy. He's got a lot of emotional problems. But on the upside, he's got his own VHS copy of Spaceballs, so he can't be all bad.
But he doesn't have any Blu-rays.
No, he doesn't have any Blu-rays. He doesn't believe in Blu-rays. I would have loved to hear him explain why he doesn't believe in Blu-rays, but we don't get that, sadly. No, but it's, the first game is, I consider to be my favorite game of all time. I consider to be one of the best video games ever made. I know you agree with me on that, so we don't have to enter in a whole discussion. I'm going to play this a bunch more. It wouldn't surprise me if I said this one, because it is a completely satisfying end to that story, started in, because you get to the end of Deadly Premonition, and you're like, oh, this feels like an end to a story. But then this one manages to fully contextualize both York and Zack as characters in a way that even the first game couldn't. And I think this one may go down for me as the better game. As a video game to be played, it's obviously a better game, right? It's just, the combat's better, the investigation is better, the combat's better, the driving is better. Game-wise, everything about this is a better game than the original. But as a full story and experience, I think it might wind up being better, but I'm not ready to say that yet. Your thoughts?
I liked the murders and stuff better in the first one.
Okay.
I don't know. They're both bizarre.
Yeah.
But I felt like that first game, I think, was a little bit easier to swallow.
Right.
The purpose.
Yeah.
Of the murders and stuff.
There's some stuff we're going to have to go really far into.
Harder to
wrap your head around.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
But and also I like you mentioned, I liked how close we got with everybody in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So I still feel a little bit more connection to the first game. But I do feel a lot more connected to Zach.
Absolutely. But I also want to say that you and I combined have played that first game for literally hundreds of hours. So we have not given this game a chance to really get under our skins the way the first one did. So this one, true. I think has the potential to pull it out and be overall the better game. I think the potential is there. I'm not ready to say it yet, but I am ready to say I adore this game. And it is the sequel we deserved.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised.
I cannot wait to see your review. I'm very excited to see your review of this thing.
Are you making a written review?
I'm doing a written review for Game Critics, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so people can
mine's just going to be a video on
obviously. Putting it on the Whitney Plays channel.
On my YouTube channel.
Oh, which speaking of, yeah, I mean, people are listening on the Greenvale archives or on a podcatcher, so we should probably...
archives?
Greenvale. Oh my God. Deadly Premonition Archives. I know.
Deadly Premonition Archives.
This is Greenvale Radio, the podcast of official podcast of Deadly Premonition Archives. So in addition to that, we should recommend people check out our other stuff because we're going to be covering Deadly Premonition on our own channels just as much as we're going to be covering it here. For me, it's the Hidden Object Guru. I'll be playing a bunch of it and putting up wacky compilations of stuff that happens in the game because I like making funny compilations. I'm a very shallow person. So Hidden Object Guru on YouTube. Check it out there. Where can people find your stuff?
Whitney Plays on YouTube. I'm going to have a review. I'm going to also be streaming this game on Twitch. So look for Camiro on Twitch. And I also plan on making an in-depth Let's Play down the line. In the
same way that she has, in many ways, the definitive Deadly Premonition Let's Play. Because if you haven't seen her Deadly Premonition Let's Play, she doesn't just play the whole game from beginning to end. She shows you all of the different conversations you can miss, all of the game overs, all of the really hard stuff to find. And beyond that, she gives you context from outside the game for various things that happen in the game. What things are referenced to? What other sweary things are being referenced? And you even talk about interviews Sweary did about the game, after the game, right? So it's like, it is a full, it's not just a Let's Play of the game, it's a full exploration of every part of the game. It's a huge commitment of time as a result.
Yeah, it's
40-some hours long.
It's a long Let's Play.
But it's worth it, is my point.
But my stream is not going to be that.
No. The stream is just going to be
obviously
playing the game and showing it.
Because I'm just going to be playing through it.
Absolutely.
My stream will be my second time through the game. I don't even know if I'll be able to find all the side missions again. Because like you said, it's kind of difficult.
One nice thing, just like the original, there's not really a New Game Plus, but after you've beaten the game, you can load an earlier chapter and you will have all of the side missions you've completed stay completed, and all of the stuff, all of the possessions you have, you will still have. So yeah, it's definitely worth going back and replaying. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now, just using my existing save file to try and find more missions. So, wish me luck.
Yeah, but when you stream it, you should.
Of course, I'll start a new game file when I stream it. Of course, I don't want to spoil things.
By the way, the only problem is I got to find a way to cover up the title screen.
Oh, right. Well, no, you just
no way.
Yeah, you just have the game loaded before you start your stream, because there's a big old spoiler in that title screen.
I was like, wow, well, I can't.
Actually, there's an easy solution for that. Before you start the game, just create a guest account on your Switch and play it as a different person.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's what you should do. Because that's how I got you the footage of my of the title screen. That way you're not going to risk spoiling anything for anyone. You'll be starting a whole new playthrough as a new person. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to handle it.
Okay, I'll have to do that then. So I don't know if my review will go up on the 8th because they say you're not supposed to show certain things.
Oh, there's some stuff you wanted to use.
Stuff, like video clips.
Put it up on the 10th then, so the day this comes out. Yeah, wait till the game. You don't want to risk spoiling anything.
So basically, 12 a.m. 12 a.m. Oh, no, they're not even spoilers. They're just things that they said that we're not allowed to show.
Yeah, visuals.
Yeah, so I guess my review will be up 12 a.m.
Okay.
On the 10th.
Which, I mean, that's when this is going up, too. So if you're listening to this, you can see her review. It's already ready to go. All right. So, that's going to be that for this episode of Greenvale Radio. You know how to reach us if you need to. And if you want a far more in-depth look at this game's story, we're going to be doing one of those podcasts soon, once people have had time to play the game for themselves. Because there is a ton of giant reveals in this game that we don't want to risk spoiling in any way, shape, or form.
Yes. Oof. Yeah. There's a lot I want to have to dig into.
Yeah, we're going to dig into on another podcast later on. So we're going to give it a week, maybe 10 days, give you time to play through the game. And then we're going to get into it. And then, of course, after that will be our story explained video, which I assume is going to take a while. Yeah, probably going to take a while to put together. There's a lot of story to dig into and a lot of characters to keep track of. So join us back here for that. But until then, I just want to say au revoir.
Bye, everybody.